Hi, everybody. We have a complicated question today. What to do if you are a caregiver for someone younger than you? Learn what all caregivers should consider if you're in this situation. If you think that you may not outlive the person that you're caring for. Caregiving for younger people happens a lot. Parents have children. They become caregivers for children. It's highly unlikely, and we know this for a fact, right? Parents rarely outlive their children. Maybe you're a parent for a disabled child and you're wondering what's going to happen after you pass away. Or maybe you're married and there was a 20-year age gap. And when you were younger, it wasn't a big deal. But let's say you're the caregiver and you're 90 years old and your spouse is 70 years old. That could be a complication. It could be a bigger deal. Now, the truth is that caregivers, no matter how old you are, right, we get sick because of the stress. Some caregivers, especially those for individuals with dementia or Alzheimer's, they pass away before the person that you're caring for. This is common in situations with married couples. It's common in situations where children are caring for parents. So the worry of passing away before the person that you care for is a very valid worry. And so we're going to talk about how to plan for that. Now, the other consideration that we're not talking about in this video, because that's another video, are just the generational issues. So let's say that you're a 60-year-old parent caring for your grandchildren who are 20 years old. That's a whole different story. I'm Pamela D. Wilson. My website is PamelaDWilson.com. On there, a lot of hope, help, and support for caregivers and aging adults, online courses, videos, podcasts, articles. So let's get started. What steps should you take? Depending on your situation, it could be really simple or it could be really complicated. And so depending on that, you may need to consult multiple persons with different backgrounds. I'm going to give the most simplistic explanation of this that I can, again, because it's so complicated. Planning for the care of a person when you know that you may no longer be involved, whether because you just can't be the caregiver anymore, whether because you're not here anymore, is a lot to consider. So back to the question of caring for someone younger than you. If or when you can no longer be that caregiver, the first thing that you want to think about is who is going to be the caregiver. Is there a family member? Is there a friend? Is there somebody that you know that will willingly accept that responsibility and do a good job, but also be willing to, in many cases, be the legally responsible party? So a person who can accept agent under medical power of attorney, financial power of attorney, personal representative of the estate, or a trustee. And does this person have the experience? So if you're going to have them be responsible for money and property, have they managed their own money and property well? If you are going to ask them to be responsible for the health of your loved one, how have they managed their health? These are really considerations that you have to spend a lot of time thinking about. Now, if you don't have anybody, I'll talk about ways to find someone in a moment, but I kind of want to keep going with this thought process. So, person that you pick, you have to trust them explicitly, because when you're gone, you don't want to be worrying about whether the person that you care for is going to be cared for well. So your first choice is A, find a person. Next, consider if you still want to be involved. So if you still want to be involved, then you are the primary person in those legal documents. You're the agent under power of attorney, you're the trustee, you're the personal rep. And then you appoint a successor and another successor. Now, if you don't want to be involved at all, you just appoint someone who is that first successor. But then in the document, it's very important to allow that successor to appoint someone to succeed them. Because what if they get hit by a car tomorrow? Then you have a document that is unusable, right? So the person you appoint, whoever it is, has to be able to appoint a successor. And you want to, when these appointments are made, You want to have them sign a document that says, I agree to be the appointee. I can't tell you how many times people appoint individuals in their legal documents and they don't even ask them. So when it's time for the appointment, the person refuses, and if there's no successor, then you have a whole legal mess. Because I want to make the assumption that the younger person that you're caring for won't be able to identify a person to act for them legally and won't be able to go through the legal process of doing that, which is why you need documents that will last regardless of all of the unexpected things that are going to happen, especially if the person that you care for has dementia or some type of developmental disability. They're not going to be able to manage through all of this. The other thing is to be transparent as you go through this process. Now, there's two paths to this also. You're explaining that you want to set this up for success with the person that you care for who can understand everything. They don't have any mental health issues, no memory issues, no nothing. Path B is you're setting this up for a person who is developmentally disabled or who has Alzheimer's or dementia and they can't understand. So path number one, full disclosure, you tell them everything that you're doing, you involve them. Path number two, you might want to get a lot of this worked out so that you're just presenting information to these people and explaining the plan so they feel less concerned, less worried about, oh my gosh, this may be too overwhelming for them to even understand in the first place. This, though, leads us to the conversation about what if you don't have anybody to appoint, okay? And this takes us to money. So there's this path and then there's this path, okay? Path number one is there's money in the estate to pay for care. And you contact an elder law, estate planning, or probate attorney and get some recommendations on what's called a professional fiduciary. I was a professional fiduciary for many years, so I served in this role. It's somebody that you can appoint as an agent under medical, financial power of attorney, personal rep, or trustee, okay? The other path, if you don't have money, you can go to your state legal aid services department. Many of these elder law, estate planning, and probate attorneys do pro bono work. Now, you may have to get on a waiting list to get an attorney who has time to do this pro bono work, but that's another way that you can find somebody who can serve in that role and also who can do your documents, right? The other thing is if you have money, you can hire a care manager and maybe a financial planner and an attorney to help you create this plan. Resources are low. There's no money to pay anybody. You're doing this pro bono attorney option, but you're also contacting social services and community service departments. So maybe if your loved one is not yet on Medicaid, that may be a path to pay for their care if you cannot. So that would be Medicaid social services. There's also social service departments for disabled people, developmentally disabled people, intellectually disabled people. So you have to find the right people who can help guide you to make this plan for when you are no longer able to be the caregiver and honestly, you're no longer on this earth. Now, let's go back to money. If money exists, maybe then you're looking at a trust and a trustee and a trust protector. What you want to think of is you want to be able to appoint somebody, but if possible, you want to have some oversight. So somebody that this person has to kind of report to. So a trust protector, an attorney, power of attorney protector, somebody who can say, yeah, their agent's doing their job. They're doing a great job. And you can put that in your power of attorney documents. Because again, life is unpredictable. People's lives are unpredictable. The people that you appoint, their lives may be unpredictable. So you're dealing with this, and I know you know this, right? This hugely uncertain project where you want to make sure that this younger person that you care for is going to have care when you're no longer around. And I realize all of this sounds super complicated. It could be very overwhelming. You may not even know where to start. So that's where finding experts who can help you. Attorneys, people that work in social services and community services. And you got to find the right person because not everybody has the experience to do this. They may have bits and pieces here and there, but they may not be able to pull it all together for you. So on my website, there's a lot of information. Go there. There's an online course. There's articles. There's hundreds of podcasts, hundreds of videos. So let's talk about now what I call the living equation, right? You pass away, where does this person live? If they're fairly independent, they may be able to live in an independent living apartment. If they're developmentally disabled, again, it may be a group home for developmentally disabled individuals. If it's just a person that has all of their cognitive abilities, meaning they have no memory loss or anything like that, could be an independent living apartment, could be assisted living, could be memory care, could be a nursing home. So again, in addition to all of this legal planning and who's going to be responsible and who's going to help out, you kind of want to think about where will they live, how will they live, how will their bills get paid, what happens when they pass away, what happens if they want to get married. There's a lot of life considerations here, which is why it is so complex. And I don't want to overwhelm you with all of this, but the more educated that you can become about all the options in life and have a plan, the more comfortable you will be that you are setting up a plan to have care available for this younger person when you are no longer available. I thank you so much for watching this video. Please press the share button. Please follow me on my YouTube channel. There's so much help and support there. Again, go back to my website, PamelaDWilson.com. Thank you so much for being here. I will see you all again soon in another video.